nothing to me, I don't come for them. We be getting all like they want to come for me. So tell them come for me. Tell them we don't friend nobody. All of them will walk confront with anywhere we go. We friend no one and friend but they don't. Tell them we don't friend nobody. All of them will want to stop. We tell them we don't friend no woman, friend no sing and friend but they don't. I say Olivier, Olivier, Olivier. We go come and hard to fight them like we did to Salmana. Olivier, 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 Olivier. We go come and hard to fight them like we did to Salmana. Tell them we don't afraid nobody. All them bad men people them who trying to stop we. I looking for fighters there with the same energy. Hit them with powder, tell them all the stink and dirty. Stink and dirty. Getting ready to come to do the live video and I'm preparing in my mind what I'm going to say because there's so much things to deal with that happened today. And I'm feeling the anxiety and the stress and the abuse. I'm feeling the despondence and the discouragement of knowing that I'm living in a country that everything could be bought and sold and everything that's standing up for right could be so tedious. And then all your Trinis come and give me so much support on that Newsday column, on that Newsday article. I want to cry. As a big strong one, you know, but I not set up for them kind of thing, you know. You see that outpouring of love and support, Trinidad and Tobago? Watch me now. As a big friggin' man, I set up for battle, I set up for boss head, I ain't set up for all that love. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the support. Thank you very much for all the support. Newsday, Jada Lalu, whatever your name is. Go back and check. You publish your article. Who sent you to sit down in that court today to come and write that article? We made sure Satish Ramsaran contacted you to say, hey, we noticed you, Jada Laltu, and Ricky Ramdas were in the court. Whoever summoned you all, notwithstanding. But in the interest of justice and fair play, we too have a statement. Jada called me back. Ricky Ramdas never did. Neither did Omati Lider. But I am on record today chasing them all over the country and posting on Facebook that I am willing to give my side of the story so they could never say that they couldn't reach me. Because Philip Alexander was reachable and we had a statement. And Jada Laltu has the statement and Omati Lider of the Express has the statement. I want you to see the size of the bullshit we fighting. David versus Goliath. Who is the Goliath? State. Kid Rowley share a video today from Roots, Kunta Kinte. What's your name? Tell them Toby. Tell them Toby. No, my name is Kunta Kinte. No, tell them. You know who holding the whip now, Kit? You. You know who's the overseer now, Kit? You. You know who's massa now, Kit? All them who pulling your strings. All them rich people that you say, it is better the rich get rich. You don't see nothing wrong with that, Kitos. I want to tell you something. I realize Trinidad and Tobago is not the same Trinidad and Tobago of 5 years ago. The people are awoke and they support change, real change now. They ain't taking on UNC and all that bullshit. And all they come with all your Camille and all your Sushila. A man tell me, Philip, I don't get in politics. I don't get in politics at all. Politics is beyond me. He said, but if something that you share as a video last night reached my WhatsApp, it reached everybody. He said, I want to tell you, when they share anything political to me, as delete and I don't comment. He said, when I saw your video in Piarco Airport last night, I had no choice but to answer, I see no lies here. PNM and UNC work for the same contract mafia. PNM and UNC give contracts to the same contract mafia. It is why Kamala Prasad, the assessor, cannot stand up in the Red House and question how the Red House cost $500 million to renovate. She can't. Only I could. So I am doing it. And in this mad-ass country, Unicot, a state enterprise that works for me, is suing me. And the enterprise is suing me for questioning what my company is doing with my money. And they're taking more of my taxpayers' money to pay lawyers to fight me and suing me, to break me, to silence me. The matter before the courts, I want Trinidad and Tobago to hear this. Unicot spent $500 million renovating the Red House, not building the Red House from scratch. $500 million. $500 million. I want to tell you something. I am in the construction business. $500 million. Go and see what Colm built on Picton Street. That costs $100 million. That is more material, more labor. That's a building from scratch. That costs $50 million. 10 times that. 10 times that was spent on the Red House. So tell me, Trinidad and Tobago, if you are aware of what is going on in your country. So when I stand up for Trinidadians and UDCOT sue me, Colm Imbert is corporation sole. Colm Imbert appoints the board hires the lawyers. Colm Imbert is also suing me. Noel Garcia of UDCOT is also suing me. Noel Garcia of Las Alturas fame, who would not answer the Commission of Inquiry into the botched job that he and Keith Rowley did in Morva that cost the country tens of millions of dollars. The Urban Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Rowley said, every school child in this country knows that there is a thing called UDCOT and it stinks to high heavens. Keith Rowley said that. Massa. Who is Massa, Keith? Who pulling your strings now? Whose contracts? Who got the contracts? $500 million to renovate a building that already existed. If you go in the botanical gardens and look behind President's house, you will see a cottage that if you hit it with a bulldozer and destroyed it completely and rebuilt it from scratch, it wouldn't cost $2 million. The same UDCOT spent $17 million to renovate it. UDCOT is fighting me to silence me. Now, for whatever reason, Newsday was Savant Express as well. They knew I was going to lose my appeal, but I want to tell you something. What we are appealing is this. We have made a motion in a case that UDCOT cannot sue citizens. The judge ruled to defer it to the substantial matter, as is her right. We appealed. The appeal court referred the matter back to the judge. And the judge deferred the matter to the substantive trial. So in other words, we are suing, we are making a motion to say that you cannot have a trial because UDCOT cannot sue a citizen. And what you all need to understand in this matter, why this matter is important and why today, regardless if we lose today, and Felicia Holder is on this tonight and she knows that when we lose that there are costs and she and her team have to fight up to find that money to pay these people because we're fighting for Trinidad and Tobago, and she's going to hear me say that we are going to the Privy Council with this matter. We are going to the Privy Council with this matter because this matter, and to the couple people who went on the news, they tried at first to say, oh, Philip is a loser, Philip loses our next case. Newsday don't publish the wins. We just win a very important matter. But Newsday don't come and sit down in those matters and publish those wins. But that's a story for another time. What we're talking about right now is this. If the Urban Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago is successful in suing me for defamation, that would mean that they have turned the shield, that is the defamation statute, into a sword successfully. And that is the crux of the matter. We raised an issue, and I'm not going into that issue at length here in Trinidad and Tobago because I want to tell you, we don't have a justice system that you can poke at. We cannot discuss matters. Everything is hidden away. So when Herbert Volney, former judge, former MP, former minister, is going at me for saying, please, oh please, oh please, 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 never vacate, never change the Privy Council to the Caribbean Court of Justice. It is my opinion, not based on hearsay or having sat on the bench. It is my opinion based on experiences that I have had. And I am saying, if I have had experiences such as these and such as those, other people have had to have had other experiences. Better, worse, I don't know. But the Parliament is supposed to be the highest court in the land, and the Parliament should be the place to say, let us examine the administration of justice in Trinidad and Tobago. But we don't do that. We live in a country where the entire law, almost the entire law association, appealed to the Prime Minister to unseat the Chief Justice. The Prime Minister ignored them. They abandoned their fight. Chief Justice is still the Chief Justice. We've not even had the opportunity to ventilate that. We're pretending to be a real country. And Keith Rowley and Kamla Persad-Bissessar have so lost the plot that they send their minions to make the conversation about Camille and Sushila. It's not. It's not. And when Keith Rowley shared that the overseer on the behest of Massa beat the shit out of Kunta Kinte until Kunta Kinte accept that his name was Toby, Keith Rowley is right to share that. But what Keith Rowley does not realize, and I want every black Trinbagonian and everybody who had to change the name to understand, the overseer is Keith Rowley. He ain't Kunta Kinte. Kunta Kinte is all of the people who live in Factory Road in Diego Martin, where I went. I walked up a hill. You all saw me. Some people was laughing at how hard it was for me to climb that trail. It was not easy. I want you to understand, it's not just a trail. Every step, if you're going 20 feet forward, you're going 40 feet up. Every step is 3 feet, 4 feet. You ought to pull yourself up with branch. You're walking on exposed mud, and that's the better parts, or you're stepping on big rocks that all how. They're not flat like a step. They all how, and you're looking for a piece that not wet and mossy that you could stand up on. I'm thinking to myself since I've been there. No, albeit I went up with my Birkenstocks, and that is not for mountain climbing. But still, I am wondering how these people get home with things like groceries. If all you coming home with is some KFC for the family and a bottle of Cokes, how you coming up that mountain? How? And overseer Keith Rowley, on behalf of the Balize National Movement that they whipping people with, because it is that Balize plant that whipped those people into submission and would allow them to tolerate to literally live in shit. They are living in the jungle while you sleeping. Snake and manicu and all kind of thing all over you and your family and your children. And these people not living there to prove a point. They're not living there because they're stupid. They're living there because they cannot do better. That life in Trinidad and Tobago is a miserable place for the 700,000 people who live below the poverty line. And I wish I could take Fazir Muhammad up that hill with me. Because Fazir Muhammad asked me a question in one of my first interviews, where are you getting numbers from? Fazir, brother, nobody have the numbers. Because in Trinidad and Tobago, dog better than you if you're poor. Nobody care to check and see how they're living. But I will gladly walk and count Factory Road, Covine, Rich Plain, and I bet you we find them 700,000 people without leaving Keith Rowley constituency. I bet you. How people live in this country. And the $500 million spent, now get this, eh? Let us put God out of our thoughts for a minute and assume that it was worth $51 million to spray paint 100 doors. Let's assume, taking down 100 doors. I'd call Asha Javid when I got the information through the Freedom of Information, because I said, Asha, are you hearing these numbers? I say, the most expensive door in Trinidad and Tobago is $2,000. This is $50,000 a door. $50,000 a door. But in Trinidad and Tobago, the government is using the courts to beat and frighten people with the defamation statute. Fellas like Brian Stone, Andre Ashe, and others who just shared something. Carl Membert is suing me for sharing something that Devon Maraj posted. He's not suing Devon. Devon Maraj post went viral. I commented on Devon's post. I am being sued. Devon isn't. And I just want you to see. Carl Membert is the man in charge of who sits on the board of UDICOT. Noel Garcia answers to Carl Membert. I want you to see what we're fighting. And I want you to understand that the state machinery and the justice system is being pressed into political service. And the Integrity Commission, if it had a purpose in Trinidad and Tobago, should be addressing that. Because again, fire truck me. You know how to like me. And you know how to love him. You know how to loving. Because the airport video gone viral. Unlock the bandit trend. There are people who say, boy, let me tell you something here. I don't like you, you know, but you see every flicking thing he say here is the God's honest truth. Not one lie. And then they come and they start to poke, and they start to kick the tires, and they start to check, and they watch other videos and they realize, wait now. And again, messages, brother, I apologize. Forgive me. I did not know you, and I was speaking out of turn. I thought you were a normal politician. I didn't realize that you are the genuine article. You know I'm the genuine article? The same blasted Newsday, the same Newsday published on Sunday. 5 couples had to fight for space in Wildflower Park to take their wedding pictures. They had to line up and wait. Because before, if you as one couple went, and I went and I took a video of a couple in the savannah, and I said they should be using Wildflower Park. 5 couples used Wildflower Park on May 31st. And you know why they use Wildflower Park on May 31st? Because Philip Edward Alexander, David versus another Goliath, beat Goliath into the ground and got Wildflower Park back for the people of Trinidad and Tobago so that Newsday could cover a beautiful bride and her blushing groom on their wedding page, showing 5 couples posing for pictures in Wildflower Park, and Trinidadians realizing that there is only one person in politics, me and my team, that is really fighting for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. When I went up in the airport last night, it was to prove the point, because I'm listening to all the little talking heads, and I ain't giving none of them, I ain't calling nobody name again, because I ain't giving nobody mileage. But I'm listening to all the talking heads talking and trying to justify. And Emil Crown, attorney at law, said, I don't know who need to say this, but fighting racism with racism is not helping anybody. And that applies to both sides. So let's vacate that conversation. What I went up to show them last night was the same thing I tell you all about. The 2 gazelle, horns locked in a fight, and the lion coming running, the lion like a speck. And he coming running, he know that he's in 1, if not 2 of them. And that is Trinidad and Tobago. While they have you all fighting, Sushila and Camille, Starbucks in the center, in the atrium of the airport. Now people say, but I sure they're paying a rent. Yes, but it was never rentable space. It wasn't tenantable space. UNC people saying, Lash P&M. No, because it's Jerlene John was managing that airport and gave all of them people all them space, albeit the center atrium wasn't a part of that. But when you look around and you see, and I'm saying that the P&M and the UNC are still 2 sides of the same cancer. The atrium was never tenantable space, but for Starbucks, it is. Now people are asking, why shouldn't they be allowed to rent there? I want to say this to you as clear as I could. If I step off of a plane in a new country, what I want to eat is your country's food. Yes, I may say, no, I don't like how your food looks, because to some people, the first time you encounter callaloo, it's a difficult thing to do. Callaloo is a mental adjustment. When you look at a bowl of callaloo, realize what you're looking at is drain water, canal water, what is collect on the surface of a swamp. That's what it looks like. And you have to get past that to eat callaloo to realize, wow, this thing really nice. But I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago, what should be available to every new arriver, including every Trinbagonian, is Trinbagonian food. Where Cinnabon is, should be rock cake and coconut roll and currants roll. For people to say, wow, this, I never knew this existed. Wow, Cinnabon. You leave Cinnabon behind the airport you just come from. And if you want a Cinnabon, you see where the local food court is. That should be Subway and Cinnabon and KFC and McDonald's. Draw them out there, those who want to look for that. But all around you inside the airport, I should be able to get a cup of oxtail and dumplings. I should be able to get a roti. I should be able to get a doubles inside the airport. They should have a special little podium for 2-3 doubles men selling inside the airport, because doubles is the national food of Trinidad and Tobago. We sell more doubles in a day than anything else in this country in a year. KFC don't sell like doubles, and Mute know that. Same guy who owns Starbucks owns KFC. And I don't know who owns Cinnabon and Burger King and the rest of those things. And there's a time and a place for everything. But your national airport, your only airport, and the atrium of that airport should not be Starbucks. It should not be Starbucks. And while UNC and P&M have black people and Indian people fighting over Sushila and Camille, the atrium space was taken by Starbucks. And the local franchisee, neither black nor Indian. So how you like them apples? So people saying, should she have ignored the yes, but hit back and clap back and bullshit you. Bullshit all of it. Bullshit. You are the opposition leader, you are the prime minister, this next jackass, Camille Robinson Regis. Camille Robinson Regis should have been arrested and charged over the brown bag of money. Camille Robinson Regis should have been barred from the parliament after she abused the credit card for her fertility and her weave. But this is Trinidad and Tobago, where corruption rises to the top. And people like me, who fighting for a better Trinidad and Tobago, could be sued by a state company using taxpayers' dollars. Now how shameful and sad is this, and I'm telling you, is you had to come back to every single one of you who want your free speech. Because I want to tell you something. When I stood up to Hawk Security in that park, what went through all of their minds, and I'm sure they had to check, is we could put 2 bullets in this bitch, but he not black. He looking a little half Syrianish. So if he was black, we could have booed to him. But what going on here? And that's, I am telling you, Trinidad and Tobago is corrupt that way. Trinidad and Tobago is broken that way. Up to now, Hawk Security lying to people and telling them guards was the ones who was to blame. We never tell them to do that bullshit. I watched that for months. I watched them guards sit down on them 2 plastic chairs under that tree in that park and run people from that park. I have hundreds of people who are willing to testify to their experience with that same Hawk Security. So Edward Aboud, don't lie to nobody. Hawk Security was there to chase people from Wildflower Park, and own that. Own it. Like right now, the Ministry of Agriculture has admitted that the person who put the camera pole in the park does not have permission. A little jackass, Jason De Silva from Laventille, a little knuckle dragger, is telling people the person put up the cameras to protect people in the park. No, jackass. If you pay attention before opening your mouth and letting what little bit of brain you have dribble out, the cameras that are on the pole is focused exclusively on his wall. He ain't protecting you in the park. He protecting his house from you and anybody else who want to go near his wall, including me. A security guard came to tell me I can't even use the wall as the background of a picture on a public road, on a public pavement. But only for sale. And you wanted, I mean, I listened to this jackass threatening my son, threatening my mother. I mean, the nastiness that you have to put up with to stand for people. And what that little jackass, Jason De Silva, will never ever admit is that when his child mother needed help, it's Philip she came to. And she got help. I don't turn nobody away. But whoever pulling his strings, he gotta dance for them. But at the end of the day, if I am successful and we are successful, his life improved. He don't get to sit down in no little derelict vehicle, smoking weed, talking shit with his life. He could get hope. He could get opportunity. He could actually be developed as a human being. But it is hard to unwhip that out of some of these PNM supporters. It is hard to take that away. Keith Rowley and crew have him so stupid. He walking around dullering, talking shit on command. And that's what you have to deal with to say that you're standing up for anything in Trinidad and Tobago. So it is very distressing to be going through all of this and dealing with all of this. But on the other hand, it is very rewarding to see the people of Trinidad and Tobago standing and having their voices heard. And I love, love, love. I tell you, when I came back home before I went live, I had to find the thing to read. Because Jada Lautu, and I want to show you this. I want to show you my phone log. I wonder if I could show you this. How much time I spoke to Jada today. And email her. And she said, email it to this address. And I emailed it to the address she sent. And then I called her to make sure that she got the email. And she said yes. And for some reason, our statement didn't make it to that article. So the purpose of the article was to try and diminish Philip Edward Alexander. And that's the PNM's whole play right now. Because black Trinbagonians are in an uproar over Balize House. PNM in trouble. Keith Rowley in trouble. Call me but can't walk where I just walk. You mad? First of all, them two short leg couldn't climb that hill. But secondly, he can't go there without special branch. And he know that from Trinidad. He from Lekoto. He don't know Trinidad. And he definitely don't know Diego Martin. So when he was talking, he said he went Westmoreland and Bayshore and Goodwood Park, La Hoquette, Glencoe. Here no River Estate, Bagatelle, COVID, Rich Plain, Factory Road, Mason Street. Here no Vandana Avenue. He don't know La Puerta, Saganga. He don't know Hague Street in Carnage. He don't know, he never went up there. Ask him if he ever went up Abbey Pujara and Big Yard. Ask him. Ask him if he ever walked there alone. Ask him if he ever bounced the starter and drive up there alone. Ever. But our reality, Trinidad and Tobago, and I want to say this to you, and I want to say this to you, your job now is to wake others up. And even though they're going to use everything, because I'm hitting both sides, PNM and UNC, two sides of the same cancer. And if you can't accept that yet, and I had to put this on the Newsday's thread, because the first couple people came there to attack me, and I put, funny how our wins don't make papers. Funny how the journalists did not include our statement. Funniest thing of all, this fight is a fight against UDCOT spending $500 million to fix the Red House. Enough money to build 10 Red Houses. Those laughing at me for fighting for them, counting the money I lose in the fight, but not counting how much they have to spend on all that corruption. That is why your taxes are so high. But fighting me for fighting for justice, defending those who milking your children's future. I fail to see the joke. I shared today, Ms. Omati Laida expressed, we noticed the presence of Ricky Ramdas in the UDCOT appeal today, and in the interest of fairness, we have tried to reach both Mr. Ramdas and your newsroom to no avail. We do have a statement that we would like to add to any story being written, as this is a matter of public importance, and either you or Mr. Ramdas can reach me at 682-2110. Let it not be said I could not be reached for comment. Anyone with access to either Omati or Ricky Ramdas, please forward this to them. Thanks. After I put that out, and when I share something, the first rounds of shares is 20,000 people. Then it goes on my wall. That's 112,000 people. And then all of the other walls total an next 100,000. And that's massive amounts of people getting information at one point in time and asking them to share it. Then I emailed the statement to Omati Laida. Still, it didn't matter. Jada Lautu, who agreed, who admitted that she got my statement, did not include anything from it. Which suggests to me that the purpose of Jada Lautu, and I'm waiting to see what Ricky Ramdas writes, but the purpose of them at the matter at the hearing today was just to use whatever the outcome was to denigrate Philip Edward Alexander, and it backfired in their face. Go to Newsday paper and see the public slapping them up for the indecency of that article saying Philip Edward Alexander loses to UDCOT. Philip Edward Alexander cannot lose to UDCOT. UDCOT belongs to me. What is happening there is an abuse of the justice system by the government to try and silence the citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago in a country notoriously corrupt. We've made and spent $3 trillion. Conrad Enel, who cost the country a next $500 million in NGC, was just promoted. A woman who was fired from Petrotrin HR department for inappropriate behavior was just appointed to NGC. In the PNM corruption is a reward up the hill. Mistakes, missteps, incompetence, miss me with that. In the PNM, you're going forward, you're going far. And that is what you have to decide if you want forth. And yeah, I taken real hits, you know. I taken hits in a fight that have nothing to do with me. And I taken those hits every single day. But we're recording significant victories. And they have plenty victories that when you hear them, you will laugh. But I want to say today, who it was it Keith Rowley? Keith Rowley said, and I want to get that, Fitzgerald Hines. Fitzgerald Hines said that the state that the state has, that he compared it to Jesus and fishes and loaves, to the state trying to get money and saying why police can't get a raise in pay. So I tell him on that thread, you're a liar. If you stop corrupt projects like the Red House project, you could be paying TSTT workers, you could be paying police, you could be paying everybody a fair salary. But the government of Trinidad and Tobago is in the thief money business. They're not in the take care of people business. And the police who putting themselves at risk day in and day out for these same bitches have to go home with money that can't keep up with the 3-time cost of living. Everything increased. The same money that you used to spend, the same money that you're making, gas gone up 400%, eggs gone up, flour gone up, oil gone up. How people supposed to live? And then you will say, police corrupt. If people start sidelining, taking a little hustle. But what they're supposed to do, like you, Keith Rowley, when they hear the children crying in the night, their instinct is to feed their children. And you as the Prime Minister, I mean, how you can appoint a jackass like Fitzgerald Hines to tell that to police officers? If the police officers of Trinidad and Tobago all resign their job tomorrow, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You send Fitzy out there to run from water? Who are you going to send? Send. If all the police officers of Trinidad and Tobago and submit their resignation, who? Because they have countries all around the world will hire all our police officers, and pay them 10 times what they're making here. Who will you hire to replace them? Amalgamated? Maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's your plan, Kitos. Who's to know? Who's to say? But to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, I want to tell you this. The country is being stolen away from you in inches, feet, yards, and acreages. Carony lands, ribbon cutting on Carony lands. When food, the world is talking about we have 10 weeks of wheat left because of Russia and the Ukraine. I asked this morning, you trying to tell me that TSTT couldn't sell blocks to people who want to them. The area, you can get Diego Martin West, you get Diego Martin Northeast. You take $50 because the price Carony lands, ribbon cutting on safely, legally. The money that you could get from selling that copper on the international global market, you could use that money to pay the TSTT back pay workers from the last rounds of VSEP in 2018 who ain't get paid yet. But you're chaining up TSTT workers now to tell them when they get VSEP, they'll get paid one time. Now, all of this could go nowhere. The country could still go down the hole. I'm telling you now. But I want you, Overseer Keith Rowley, I want you to tell Trinidad and Tobago, this song that Sandra singing here, this Voices of the Ghetto, have you ever been to any of the ghettos to see if what she was singing is true? Since 2009, could you tell us, Keith Rowley, what have you done to address any of this? For every Kunta Kinte and every Toby. They go Martin, they have water 4 days now. You're the Prime Minister. People suffering in your constituency. 4 days, no water.
No vacancy, no employment. Get that fire back up from gunshot. Then let's go and things get hot. I'm afraid to look out the window. So hear voices slow. I hear you. Sing the chorus. Yeah.
But you get 10 acres of land down on Nelson Street in Port of Spain. And instead of building homework supervision centers, instead of building technical centers for people to learn trade, instead of building things for people to go and learn art, learn any kind of trade, football, cricket, anything, any sport, any kind of academy, you want to go and build Panyard. The people at the bottom of the hill in Factory Road show me abandoned factories that you could have made available to them. MIC could have go inside and train people out of well, plumbers, mason, gardener, electrician, and carpenter. The country need all that.
Just hold the head and fall.
In your constituency, Lord.
And them woman stronger than a wall. A big pusher, I hate your daughter. Some in jail for manslaughter. Too bad for you, hear them fat boys coming. That's the black man's choice. Let Shabba say, poverty is hell. You little girl child, baby, got to swear. Some say life is a cycle, but no George in a circle. Now we return and learn time to tell.
Outside the siren keep howling, inside your belly real growling. Any of your children ever experienced that keep growling? Any of your boy children ever had to run and climb over wall to run from police, to run from bandit?
Next night is a way that you're keeping, so you pray to win the lotto. Not to hear their voice. What they doing? I hear you. They're still crying. Hey, hey, yeah. Crying. They're crying. 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 Hey, hey, yeah.
I hear the workers walk off Point Fortin Hospital. I hear all the workers walk out Point Fortin Hospital. Wait till I find out if it's true.
And don't you tell tragic story. With a journalist story. No wonder they the score.
June 6, 9:45. Sorry, I forgot.
Rebels without a cause.
Monday, June 6th.
These social victims of unjust laws. But yet they christen the heroes. Renegades, desperados. Forever knocking on heaven's door. Hear it. Still on music shot as the silence. I'm on it to conquer the violence. Big men run when cops approach. Fighting for straps with the cockroach. The young turks get tough protected.
Almost every young girl expected. So tomorrow there'll be another. I have been silently following you and the work that you have been doing, and I'm convinced that you have the best interests of our country at heart. The venom and vitriol that has been spewed against you would have made an uncommitted man quit. You have my support and the support of anyone that I can convince of your genuine interest in the betterment of Trinidad and Tobago. My number is 682-2110.
Social amenities, God heaven knows. Opportunities, well, them always close. Can't get what one's in white collar. If I can't stretch me dollar. Later from me crap or smoke me pipe. Some Josh out till there's only bitterness left inside. And every day is a hustle, arguments are settled with muscle, till you're 6 feet deep by 3 feet whitewash. Children, should life keep on drifting? Something they're smoking or sniffing? Or maybe they're trying to forget this life of misery and regret. No one to come to the rescue except Capleton and Mushu. So they boom boxes the Lego. The drum and voices, they're crying. They're still crying. They're crying and they're crying. Crying and they're crying. Yeah, yeah. Voices don't make it.
Good night to Gerald and Rodney Robinson, two former residents of Saganga who took their families and left Trinidad, now live in New York City. Plenty people who watch my show to cry about what our country has become. They've escaped it. But Joel Latif just sent me some message from TSTT threads of people who suffering to get their own money. Hear me? That watching me fight for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, but championing if I lose. A fight for them and their children. This is what Overseer Keith Rowley do them. When he didn't whip the name out of them, he whipped the common sense out of them. He whipped the sense of self-respect and personal awareness. He whipped the ability to see all of us as one people. That's what they whip out of that PNM base. Whip them. Whip them with suffering. Whip them with the ghetto. The people in Powder Magazine had to sit down there and suffer and watch themselves catch their ass to come and go every day. They watch them build a building next door for high-class people and come and spending $500 million to make a flyover for them to go Westmore. I know we can't save all, I know we can't save all. I know we can't wake up all. I know that there are people who went to the police station today to get a certificate of character, and the police said they don't have paper to print form to fill out, so we have to go download the form and bring it back for them to fill out. Also, they said do it quick because the receipt book only have 4 more pages in it. Lord Father, Jesus, have mercy on Trinidad and Tobago. Keith Rowley going to the 9th Summit of the Americas. What are you going to tell them? The world watching Barbados and Guyana ascend and thrive. Only good news. And then the world watches Trinidad and Tobago. What is this jackass going to go and tell them? What's he going to say? What is he going to say that the PNM did with the $3 trillion that this country made? What's he going to say? Norway, Heritage and Stabilization Fund affects every stock and share traded on the planet. Joel Latif of TSTT, get the knuckle draggers to understand that while they're fighting to get a little chirrup back pay, in Norway, who get oil 40 years after us, who never had as much oil as us, have $250,000 US set aside for each and every citizen as their pension. Tell those knuckle draggers who clapping and defending Massa for whipping the shit out of them. Tell them that they're going to shuffle off this mortal coil when their life comes to an end, and they will leave nothing but misery and regret for the children. That the best thing and the only way to succeed in Trinidad and Tobago is to get on a plane and leave it. How shameful is that? The happiest Trinbagonians that I follow do not live in Trinidad and Tobago. And I am saying, without fear of contradiction, that the mission that we on to rescue Trinidad and Tobago, it does not have a guarantee of success. This is not a biblical story. This is us wading into a shitstorm. Trinidad has been divided by race so viciously that comments between Kamla Persad Bissessar and Camille Robinson Regis could distract the public from the fact that in 1 week we found out that there are massive pedophile rings operating in this country in both of those parties. We found out that they still have child marriage going on inside some of those parties. We found out that there is a massive narcotics trade, big business. A former Minister of Finance told us that, and no action taken on none of those things. But the country in an uproar over bullshit. And in the center of the airport is a Starbucks. Not a Hongwing coffee. Not somebody grounding and making their own coffee for one of the international media people to come and highlight. No. Touchdown and talk about Starbucks. Isn't it absolutely shameful what we are as a country? I want you to take some numbers. Sahai De Silva, her number is 3748747. She is the chief person to call if you want to make a donation of any kind to the party, and we need all the help we could get. As I tell you, we're fighting these legal battles not for us, for Trinidad and Tobago. What is going on in that court have nothing to do with me. I could take this loss and walk away. But what it means to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, what it means to you and your free speech, is what you should be concerned about. And that's what this fight is about. And that's why we have to go to the Privy Council. There was a case, a very famous case in England, Barron versus Vine. And I want you to hear what the law lords said in their judgment. And this is why we cannot afford to lose the Privy Council. Give me 1 minute. I'm reading the judgment here. And it's important that we elevate our conversation, yes, and accept that there are some people in our country that are beyond reason and beyond understanding that they are literally fighting and I really think that we as a people I really need to get some research staff to work with me when I'm doing these things. Because these shows are live, and I apologize for the delay. I apologize for the delay. Kendall Baggy, I need to get that judgment. Let me come at it this way. I'll extract it from another matter where it was quoted. Again, I apologize for the delay. I'm reading whole judgments to get it here. In a free, democratic society, it is almost too obvious to need stating that those who hold office in government and who are responsible for public administration must always be open to criticism. Any attempt to stifle or fetter such criticism amongst the political censorship of the most insidious and objectionable kind. UDCOT is administering the public purse strings here. So read UDCOT name where this is. This is the fight. In a free, democratic society, it is almost too obvious to need stating that those who hold office in government and who are responsible for public administration must always be open to criticism. Any attempt to stifle or fetter such criticism amongst the political censorship of the most insidious and objectionable kind. And that is the grounds. There is something else, and if I see it in passing, and I'm not going to take too long, I'm going to give it that as well. But that point, and I want you to never forget it, because in Trinidad, we look at people and create political enmity without understanding what that person's role in the politics is. And I keep asking myself, what should my role be? There are things that I don't comment on. There are feelings that I have and truths that I know that I should bring to the table, but I don't, because I am constantly reminding myself that I'm a political leader and somebody that people want to look at as ministerial or even prime ministerial, and that I have to be guided by that. And I weigh that thought against the role that I play in society. I have changed the national conversation indelibly. People stand up now and speak out against everybody. And that's something we never want to change. We want to expand on that. What the state is doing now by using the courts to make everything a defamation is silencing, the most objectionable way, silencing the public, speaking about the dispensation of the public purse. That's the most important issue here. When the government is trying to tell people that they have to borrow money to pay salaries, no. You could cancel the justice on time contract. We've been telling you for decades. Build the magistrate court outside of the jail and that's it. You will never have to transport any prisoners again. Account for the $25,000 a month it costs to house prisoners. Because the head of the Prison Officers Association doesn't know where that money goes. The $500 million we spend every year desalinating water today in Trinidad and Tobago, more rain fell on this country today than we could use in a year. Just today. Only in the last 12 hours. And that suggests that if we were capturing, holding, treating, and distributing that water, that we wouldn't have to spend $500 million on desalcot every year. $500 million. Now, to the persons who don't understand what that means, $500 million is $500 out of your pocket, and you pay that. $500. So you pay $500 for the Red House. You pay $500 for the desalcot every year. You paid $1,000 for the Brian Lara Stadium. You've paid $1,500 for Napa and Sapa. You've paid $1,000 for the Cuba Hospital. This is your money. You've spent $1,000 in a loss to AV oil, free mystery oil. You spent $1,000 again to this loss in the OAS. This is your money. This is money out of your pocket that could be buying presents for your children, that could be saving in a bank account to send your child to university. That money. So when you think that it is I that lose, what I am fighting is to end corruption and to create an environment of transparency and accountability where dispensation of public funds are concerned. So if I lose in the court, you lose. This is not my case. This is Trinidad and Tobago versus the government of Trinidad and Tobago. This is Trinidad and Tobago fighting to end governmental contract mafia corruption. That's what is at stake here. And the state is in an arms race. We have a normal lawyer, them send senior counsel, and a barrage of lawyers who, so when costs come, it's a big number. And the idea is to bankrupt you. That's the idea. To bankrupt you so that you do not speak out against state abuse. What the law lords call censorship of the most objectionable kind. Now, Philip Alexander continues to stand up for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That's what I do. But at some point, the people of Trinidad and Tobago have to understand, if they don't stand with me and allow, because this David and Goliath analogy, while it's fun, it doesn't bear witness to the fact that should I ultimately lose and go silent, if I am ultimately silenced, what does it portend for you? $500 million for a flyover from Victoria Keys to Westmore. $500 from each of you. $500 from the people living in Powder Magazine who were never deserving of that. Every single act and action, every single bill, every item, if the state was to end just rentals, the Faris and other government ministers, former MPs, if just those rentals were terminated, at police stations are paying rents, $51 million to build Carenage police station at not worth $5. So where the other $46 million gone? Where? And where are all the QSs? In Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Rowley, explain to the people this. A member of your government built a building in Newtown that seems to contradict the laws of town and country where land usage and density is concerned. Who do they go to? Who do they go to? I was speaking to a former senior member of our justice system, and I was asking, in situations where Trinidadians feel like they were wrongly done, where do they go? The judge today in the matter said, and he went at lengths to say, that the appeals process is what keeps the system honest, and it gives people access to redress. But what he doesn't realize by going on to award costs is that cost takes the air out of that system. There is no redress if you are afraid of the vehicle of redress. With all due respect, Your Honor, that it is the issue of awarding costs to the arms race of lawyers and lawyer fees against people who are seeking redress that makes it practically useless. Because now, every single action that you go to take, you have to wait, can I afford my lawyers? And even if I can afford my lawyers, can I afford the bill that I will get for the other side's lawyers if it's applied as cost? And I don't understand, if I appeal the judge's ruling to the appeal court, I don't understand how the other side get costs. I don't understand that. They have no role in the conversation. I don't get that. But I hope to engage this conversation with others. And I hope others in the justice system take this up and start talking among, because we have a lot of good judges, a lot, the vast majority, I believe. And I want to say that it is you. It is you, while you're here. My son's grandfather was an appeal court judge. And then he went on to chair the Integrity Commission. But now he's in the departure lounge, experiencing blackouts, running out of days. There was a time he had the power to change the system. And every one of us, and this is my only statement always, that all of us have a responsibility. Forget legacy. We have a responsibility. To whom much is given, much is expected. And the much that is expected is that you take action to make the world a better place than you met it. And I am appealing to all of the judiciary to look at the issue of costs in an appeal and see the negative effect costs have on dissuading people from using the avenue of redress that you think it is. And where do Trinidadians and Tobagonians go if they do not use the appeals process, but if they feel that they were wronged in a matter? What system is in place for that? None. Now, I understand it's a heady thing to have power. Power is important. And it feels nice. But I look at my father, I look at Joshua's grandfather, and I look at other people who had power for a while and who now have none. Whose only concern is to make it through the day. And I say that we, all of us, while we have the ability to make the world better, we have a responsibility. Because it may not be, and I look at a lot of these matters, and I say it again, a lot of these issues that I fight, they're not for me. I could easily have nothing to do with any of it. I could easily be insulated from all of it. But then who would stand up? Somebody wrote today about third parties. Father in heaven, help me find that quickly. Somebody wrote today about third parties. I'm going to search that. Felicia taught me how to search it. I want to tell you something. While I'm searching for this, Satish Ramsaran, number is 7968172. If you want to come on board the party and serve and join and help build it, 7968172. If you want to sign up for the Citizens Union, 4862888. Any donations of any substance and size, reach out to Felicia Holder at 7694590. We have a cruise coming up on the 25th of June. This is what the tickets look like. And all of this that we do is to raise funds to fight these fights, not to pay ourselves a salary. All of us work for free. In fact, just today, Satish and I was talking about, because both our phones were cut on the same day. how difficult it is using our phones and our cars and our gas and all of this, and we don't get $1 from any of this. Somebody sent this out today. And maybe that's not where the search is. Right. So this is what they said, right? I want to read it to you, and then I want to answer it. Letter to the editor. This is how panicked the PNM and the UNC is, huh? 5 things to consider before you throw your support behind a third party. Hear this, huh? I'm going to read it, and I'm going to answer it as I am reading it. As citizens, we have a huge responsibility to properly understand politics as to ensure our votes truly count towards making TNT a better place. 1. None of these third parties have put forward 41 candidates. Who are their shadow ministers? Can they do mock debates so we see where they stand on various bills being presented in Parliament? First of all, we had 34 candidates in the last election. You don't need 41. And the only reason we had 34 was that it was a snap election he called without notice, and that this third party was able to amass 34, 29 by nomination day. You only need 21 to form a government. We already are screening people for the next general election. Whenever the next election is called, we are going to have a full slate of 41 candidates. Who are their shadow ministers? You're not getting that information. I'll tell you why you're not getting that information. Because we've made that mistake in the past. And governments and contract mafia operators use that information to either bribe, buy, cajole, or threaten these people to get them out of politics if they feel that they're a threat. So you're not getting shadow ministers. But I want to tell you something. We have the best minister of health, the best minister of education. We have the best minister of national security. And if given the opportunity, and you have to listen, you have to listen, because a lot of the ministers that you get after the election from PNM and the UNC, you didn't know there was shadow or any kind going in. Can they do mock debates so we see where they stand on various bills being presented in Parliament? Yes. I've been doing that almost every night. And we are the only political party that put out a policy document on launching, www.21policies.com. It's available to everybody. In fact, it is what the PNM is using to create their water policies, and a lot of their other policies. Right now, I'm waiting for them to launch their Diego Martin water policy so I can get my credit for it. Because even if the PNM can admit none of their manifestos and not Vision 2020 and not Vision 2030 had anything to do with this, but what has it is www.21policies.com. Both the PNM and the UNC and a lot of these new fly-by-night parties are using our policies. So yeah, I am more than open to debate. I am begging for a debate. 2. Have they used the courts to challenge any of the unconstitutional bills that were passed by simple majority and should have had at least a special majority, in some cases even a constitutional majority? This is a bullshit statement to make. We are using the courts to challenge everything. We have multiples of matters before the court. We are challenging Wildflower Park and the signs in the campus, and that sounds like a small thing. We are right now before the court for judicial review against the Ministry of Health. Not the opposition not doing that. Government certainly isn't over their handling of COVID-19. Can these parties list their successors as leaders in waiting? Yes. Let's start. I am responsible for the highway bypass in Diego Martin that saves hundreds of millions of man hours and billions of dollars in lost wages, in time spent in traffic, like the people in Maraval experience. I'm willing to fix Maraval as well. I was responsible for that, and it's available on the government's own website for you to see that I was responsible for that. I was responsible for disabled parking in Trinidad and Tobago. I was responsible for the children homes getting subventions from the state in the first place, and that started under the Koto when we launched the Jericho project in Trinidad and Tobago. We're responsible for the Children Authority bill being pulled from a dust pile, 12 years languishing, and made into law. We're responsible for forcing a dangerous dog bill that ended the wild breeding of pit bulls and the massacres that was going on in Trinidad and Tobago. What else you need to hear? Have they successfully reached out to international bodies to discuss the erosion of our democracy? Again, this person is just writing from a political party perspective to try and see what their leaders did. Reach out to international bodies to discuss the erosion of our democracy. All right, I'll tell you. I've had lunch meetings with ambassadors of all the important countries, and I can't go further than that. What is the political history of the members in these parties? The Progressive Empowerment Party is founded by Philip Edward Alexander. My political history, I was a member of the Congress of the People, and that's it. Did they leave while still on the rise but chose to make a stance? Were they asked to go clear the names as a matter of integrity? The entire UNC and the PNM should be made to answer that. Were they asked to take on more of a mentorship role as their party worked on transitioning to the next generation of leaders? That's for Rowley and Kamala. 5. Why have all these persons sought to form their own party? I'll tell you why. The PNM and the UNC divide the country by race. It is divisive. It is undoing our democracy, and they're criminally corrupt. What's driving the need to be a political leader? Patriotism, love of country. Why not form one united third party and build together? Because it's not just pieces in a box. Everybody has things that they stand for in a country this broken. Trinidad and Tobago is broken by race. We are one of the worst countries according to Transparency International for corruption. We have one of the highest kill rates in the world where crime and violence is concerned. Trinidad and Tobago is a narco state. We have a pipeline for drugs to the whole world. We've spent billions of dollars. Neither the PNM nor the UNC ever chose to address any of those things. And until the other parties start to address, but you will be hearing of a couple of the parties that are coming together with the Progressive Empowerment Party, and that's happening very soon. So to answer that, a couple of the parties are coming together with the Progressive Empowerment Party. I want to tell you this. When I see the same hands of the same contract mafia or their relatives involved in any political movement, that is what we're fighting. We're fighting to end that. We want transparency. We want a proper, accountable country. We want Trinidad and Tobago to work. Time to hold every party to the same standard. Absolutely agree. Now turn that on the PNM and the UNC and let's have a national debate. Let's have many national debates. Let's have national debates on all the issues. Let's have national debates on the CCJ. Let's have national debates on what's going on in those children's homes. Let's have national debates on the drug trade that Karen Nunes, the sheriff, just admitted to the public, a former minister of national security. Let's have national debates on issues like water, jobs, home ownership, the financial service, why banks in this country are able to abuse the public. Let's have debates on all of these issues. Our children depend on each and every citizen to put the propaganda and fancy media releases aside. Ask the hard questions and demand responses that can be backed with facts. Well, I guess by this point, this person has obviously endorsed the Progressive Empowerment Party. Do not settle for pretty rhetoric. Agreed. Agreed. And we, all of us, need to be able to say that as one people, we could stand together and fight the criminality that has destroyed Trinidad and Tobago, that is representative in the politics of the PNM and the UNC. Where can you ever find a situation where two parties trying to convince you who have more pedophiles, who more racist, who more corrupt, who less evil? That's the struggle between those two parties while the country goes down the drain. I want to tell you something. There's only one solution. And that solution is your vote. That solution is your vote. The people of Trinidad and Tobago, tonight, the workers of the Pitch Lake not getting paid, they reach out to me. I say, well, come and join the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. This card, I will guarantee to stand for you. Join the Citizens Union, 486-2888. But I'm telling you, the Pitch Lake workers ain't getting paid. But China using all we pitch.
Your vote will decide our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can protect our country's faith. Move and use it well before it's free.
And we need your assistance. We need your financial assistance. If you could, please, if you're in a position to help us, everybody, because you're hearing the licks and the hard work that we're taking, fighting these matters in the court. 769-4590 is Felicia Holder's number. You could call her directly and make an offer to donate. or you could call Sahai at 374-8747. And we need you involved to help build the party in your constituency. And Satish Ramsaran is the party organizer. Please reach out to him at 796-8172.
If it is that who you're voting, ready or not, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the moving to be your equal amount, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now, then things come about.
It's always darkest before the dawn. You tie them up at every turn, so they send out their brightest to pull you down. Kamla and Camille was the distraction to make us look at them and use the race card again and again. You have my vote and support because you fight for us, the people. And even those that vote red and yellow, your fight gives me hope that it's never too late. Thank you for that.
Let's put our work on and see together again. Put them out of power, dominate the ring. Let's put our work on and see together again.
7694590. That is Felicia Holder's number. And we are going to have to raise funds to pay these bills. We are being it's a money game now. They're going to fight us, and we're going to have to do special shows just to raise funds to pay them. And I want you to know that when you contribute that money, you contributed it to go against this. That's standing for justice. That's what you're standing for.
If for 20 years you voting them in, and they only tears as soon as they win, they give you big words
And enslave your soul.
promising you roads and giving bubbles. If they are the reason why the economy goes proud, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the party laws that them alone can flout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the building ISIS, East, West, North, and South, the same way you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. Totally vote them out. Save your finger and vote them out. Rescue the country, vote them out. Vote them out with tempo, they happy in vain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out with calypso and joyous refrain. Let's put our country together again. If their policy is a policy,
Their bureaucracy, a catastrophe.
if they cannot work,
If they cannot cope,
and you see so,
and you see it so,
then your only hope
then your only hope
is for them to go.
is for them to go.
If it is fabrication, these statements that they spout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is a frustration, let's make you want to shout. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. Before they misuse out,
Before they use out, thief out, sell out, and digs out.
vote them out. Register and vote them out. All again, vote them out. Save your finger and vote them out. Them unresistant, vote them out. Vote them out in Scarborough and in Port Spain. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out in Congo and in Larobe. Let's put our country together again.
Citizens by right, none of we are worse. Yellow, black or white, food, shelter and clothes, free movement and speech, a garden that grows, and one law for each.
If it is that injustice is what they always show when you're voting. If it is that avarice is all they seem to know when you're voting.
If it is their politics, it's just a puppy show. When election day come, all bandit must go. All 41. If their politics is Camille and Sushila, if their politics is Kunta Kinte, Kid Rowley have nothing to offer you. Poor black people in this country make up the worst lives in Trinidad and Tobago. Suffering lives. I now watched 2 videos back to back. One little girl was disfigured with a knife fight, and the other, a fella escaping from police custody in Laventille. Trinidad and Tobago is a brutal place for poor black people suffering in Trinidad and Tobago. No hope, no opportunity, nothing of any value for them to turn to. Little handout here, little handout there, little silence in here, little silence in there. But there is no way. Nothing of any substance. Me and David Mohammed having a running argument about this. Where are the black voices to elevate people? Don't try to elevate all 500,000. Start. Show me 5,000. Show me 50,000. Start. Ronald Bola talking about how Indian names denigrating over the years has kept Indian people kept back. How are they kept back? East Indian community in Trinidad and Tobago is the wealthiest community. All the bullshit Peter George and them talk. I'll tell you something. East Indians have all the money and all the land in Trinidad and Tobago. And if they step forward and start to play how they should play, not this bullshit that Kamala and them giving you, with the set of junior jackasses in the parliament, you need an actual party that can lead you. 450,000 grandchildren of India, 450,000 grandchildren of Africa. If you all unite tonight, the country change. If you unite tonight, if you burn that PNM and UNC party card, the country change. If you send a message that we're no longer interested in your bullshit, the country change. But that's up to you. That's up to you. Today I fight it. And today I had to lose in the appeal court, fighting UDCOT. UDCOT fighting to silence me. And I fighting for my right to speak out, for transparency, for accountability, on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. If you want a better Trinidad and Tobago, you have to stand up for it. You have to fight for it. You have to be willing to walk away from the politics of bullshit for it and the politics of race and corruption and handout. You've never lived in a proper Trinidad and Tobago, but you could. Voting have consequences, but it also have benefits. Please. We need your financial assistance. There are 500 people on this thread right now. We get $1,000 from each of y'all, we get $500,000. Pay off all our bills. If we get $100, we get $50,000. We need the help. We absolutely need the help. This is not me in the back of the derelict car smoking, we talking shit, looking for likes and shares. This is somebody that has been standing up for people in Trinidad and Tobago and fighting for them 1 inch, 1 foot, 1 mile, 1 acre at a time. We've been changing Trinidad and Tobago. We've been succeeding at showing you without office how we could help, rescue, fix. Imagine if you put us in office. How properly bright this country would be. Thank all of you for joining me tonight. Until tomorrow, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.